Hello and welcome to Strong Opinion, episode 13. Our new hope is an old ideology. Um, I'm always saying that there is no solution for the present condition we live in. Um, well, perhaps there's a new hope, and that new hope might be some old ideology that never came to practice. But some scholars and allegedly some politicians have trying to do so. And it will be something that we could call social pragmatism. Um, we had communism, in which there was no private property. No one wants that. We have capitalism, in which everything is owned by private interest, and there's no social interest at all, and we see the chaos and disrespect for the human condition it led us into. And also there is socialism, in which there is some responsibility on the state and government to take care of social issues, but what usually happens is a lot of bureaucracy and bureaucrats, and the state becomes a castle of corruption. Instead of dealing with social issues, it's only a place where people go there to receive money from taxes and then leave. So this ideal of social pragmatism would be something in which the main concern would be very practical. And we can sum it up in some points. Basically, we would have to determine which would be the responsibilities of the state, of the government. What would be public, what would be free for the citizens. So in my opinion, in a state in which we would have a regime with social pragmatism, these would be the areas that would be free for the citizens. First would be health services, absolutely free. Health services for free. housing for free. Each individual should have a house to live in, like in Finland. Free education, like going to school should be for free, including superior education. And finally, public transportation. There should be public transports for free. As far as I can remember, it would be these four areas for free. So you would have to pay for energy, water, and all the rest. Food, which is normal, clothing, all that. How to support this? Of course, the usual way: taxes. Big companies and big individuals with very large possessions should pay their taxes instead of run away from them. And the state itself would have its own ways of making money. Oh, there is another area. I'm sorry, there's a fifth area, and this is very important. That should also be for free. Everyone should have a lawyer for free. So lawyers should be for free. Anyone should have access for justice for free. I know this looks insane, but this should happen. Of course, lawyers could have their private activity, but they should have an amount, a specific amount of clients that should be for free. I don't know, the specifics would be somehow established. But that is very important. All citizens should be entitled to a lawyer. That's fundamental. I believe I believe this could be implemented. Of course, in all these 5 areas: health, housing, education, transportation, and law, defense, lawyers. Okay, perhaps you could have private activities and people could choose to go to private very well, but the public access has to be assured, meaning this: people have to be free access all the time. So there must be public hospitals, public schools, public transportations, public lawyers. So there must be public options with good quality. And their professionals must be well paid. Now, to make this happen, probably some movement or even some party that would defend and propose this ideology would have to arrive and would have to make it in a believable fashion and also in a fashion that would convince the crowd. This would be better than any sort of anarchy or violence, and also better than making part of the game of politics. But how to make a new party? I don't know how to make a party. And how to make a party succeed without making part of the game of politics. This party would have to be very restrictive in the way, in the manner of choosing their leaderships. Unfortunately, probably their leadership wouldn't be chosen in a democratic way. It would have to work. This is terrible, but I don't see any other way. It would have to work in again this idea of an elite, of a committee, of, in this case, people with scientific knowledge. It would have to be like that. it would have to be the leadership would have to be decided on debate, but a debate that in which victory, let's call like that, wouldn't be determined by vote, but would be determined by proof, by presenting facts, by presenting a thesis, and the best thesis would win. So a thesis would be presented to a jury. A thesis would be presented to a jury, and the best one would win. It would be like being on a university presenting a paper. There's also a lot of corruption and favoritism on those procedures. But I believe this would be the best way. So that's what would happen. So decisions would be taken through the presentation of a thesis presented to a jury. And I don't know as for this jury, how it would be nominated, that would be another thing to take into account. There yeah, but it would have to be something like that. So that's it. The main idea here is that perhaps it is possible to present a system in which instead of the decisions would be taken according to popularity, they would be taken by the presentation of fact. The failure here is the failure that could happen here is the jury itself. Is the jury better than the crowd? Is the jury better than an assembly? Um, are these experts really experts? Well, there should be constructed a mechanism to verify whether the decision of the jury was the best one. So probably the thesis would have to be presented several times to several juries. That could be an option. That could be an option. Like 2 or 3 levels of juries to validate each proposal. That might have been the best way. And this model for the party itself, probably in time should be the model for the governments themselves, for the system of government. A system based in the presentation of thesis, presentation of a study, of a fact, verifying it, and then making it real, making the decision. And it will be all with the purpose of improve society, hence the term social pragmatism. Well, once more, this was a long video. Don't forget to hit the like button and the subscribe button. See you next time. Bye.